Eżist telespettaturi, nilqakom għal programm ieħor Solidarjeta ma' Ħutna Ippersegwitati. Miġjub lilkom mill-Aid to the Church in Need Malta.
Jiena nagħtikom merħba wkoll f'dawn il-programmi qegħdin inwasslu il-ħidma illi qed twettaq l-Aid to the Church in Need madwar id-dinja kollha. Fil-fatt il-Kristjani madwar id-dinja qegħdin jitpoġġew fi żvantaġġi kbar minħabba il-fidi illi ħaddu. Dawn l-iżvantaġġi jistgħu jieħdu forom differenti.
Ħafna jaħsbu li għax il-persekuzzjoni ma tissemmix fil-medja b'mod regolari, allura il-persekuzzjoni kontra l-Kristjani ma għadix teżisti. Dan fil-fatt mhuwiex il-każ. Kif qed naraw f'dawn il-programmi, il-persekuzzjoni kontra l-Kristjani kienet għada u tibqa'.
The lives of Christians are today threatened in more than 40 countries around the world. As local churches struggle to celebrate the sacraments, teach the gospel, and strive to give people their dignity, the Catholic charity Aid to the Church in Need works throughout the world to help the poor and persecuted church witness the faith. Father Werenfrid van Straten, a Dutch priest, inspired by the commandment to love thy neighbour, set himself a seemingly impossible task in 1947. To support starving German refugees with donations of food, blankets and clothing. And yet, his appeals released a flood of generosity. When no money was available, people offered food, including bacon, which quickly earned him the name the Bacon Priest. Aid to the Church in Need supported a vast number of unique projects, from the purchase of cars and motorcycles to mobilize backpack priests, to the construction of chapel trucks and the training of seminarians behind the Iron Curtain. In 1984, the Vatican Congregation for the Clergy officially recognized the charity as a universal public association of the faithful. Today, Aid to the Church in Need is an international organization with offices in 17 countries, managing some 10,000 project requests a year from over 140 countries. Though the Church suffers a crisis of vocations, in some parts of the world thousands of young men hunger to offer their lives to God. For many, it is a difficult journey of suffering, poverty and persecution. Many students pray, sleep and study in one room, often unheated. Here, in one underground seminary in China, up to 12 share one concrete bed. To enable them to answer God's call to the altar, Aid to the Church in Need supports over 15,000 of these future priests around the world. Nonetheless, a scarcity of priests and religious has led local bishops to encourage lay leaders and catechists to undertake many of the responsibilities of evangelization. Aid to the Church in Need supports this missionary work through such programs as the Little Evangelizers, where young adults spend 2 years bringing a Christian presence to isolated villages, often the first contact villagers have with Christianity. In numerous remote areas from Asia to Latin America, the simple problem of transportation often determines whether people receive the sacraments and hear God's word or suffer spiritual isolation. Communication media remains the most powerful tool of evangelization. That is why the Church seeks support for media projects, particularly in countries where communicating the Christian message remains vital to the development of democratic institutions. Aid to the Church in Need responds to appeals from Catholics and Orthodox alike, helping them rebuild churches to provide places of worship for the ever-growing number of faithful. Efforts to support the Orthodox are a reflection of the charity's historical principle of working towards reconciliation. Churches of both traditions, closed for more than 50 years, are now open once more, a sign of Christ rising from the ashes of persecution. Where the people cannot go to the church, Aid to the Church in Need supports projects that bring the church to the people. The need to support the church's reconstruction is also apparent in another part of the world, though the need here comes from a growing rather than declining threat. Although its roots are deep, there is an increasing concern after 2,000 years that the future of Christianity in the Middle East faces a silent but pervasive danger. Christianity is in effect disappearing, a modern-day exodus, the consequence of an ever-growing presence and forceful expression of fundamentalist Islam. Under communism, I realized that what the world and the church needed most was prayer, explains one contemplative sister. The most we can do is what we do through prayer. Aid to the Church in Need helps active and contemplative nuns around the world. Sisters, faithful to their vocation, pray for their benefactors daily. Today, vocations are plentiful, but many nuns remain poor and in need of support. The Bible continues to be the world's longest-running bestseller in publishing history. However, there are countries where millions of children grow up without access to God's basic teaching. Aid to the Church in Need has printed and distributed more than 48 million copies of the Child's Bible in over 162 different languages. For many, it is the only book they will ever own. The pastoral support offered by Aid to the Church in Need does not lie in relieving the immediate after-effects of a disaster, but rather in responding to local church appeals for material and spiritual help in the aftermath of natural disasters that so often inflict such a heavy penalty on those who already have so little. This contradiction, this sign of hope amidst grinding poverty, is most evident in Africa, a continent of impoverished millions, where over half of the world's conflicts are fought, and where the AIDS epidemic is decimating the population. It is indeed here that a sign of hope is most needed, and where aid to the Church in Need is enabling the religious to persevere in prayer and action. God promised the Church neither renown nor comfort in this world, a world covered with millions of crosses, a Calvary of our times. Yet the cross gives us hope. The vertical beam directs us to God, the source of all love, whilst the horizontal beam draws from this source and calls upon us to extend this love to all our brothers and sisters. It is the cross that has guided the pastoral work of Aid to the Church in Need, and the cross that inspires the love of its benefactors to help those who are unable to carry this cross alone. As Jesus said, "Whatever you do unto the least of my brethren, you do unto me."
Mil-banda l-oħra, bħala Maltin u Għawċin, għanna għalfejn nammiraw lil dawn il-Kristjani f'diversi pajjiżi. Għaliex minkejja dak kollu li qed isofru, xorta jibqgħu jemmnu f'Ġesu rebbieħ, f'Ġesu li rebaħ saħansitra mill-mewt.
Parti mill-ħidma tal-ACN hija li tiġbor fondi għal proġetti speċifiċi bħalma għadna kemm rajna.
Nittamaw li bil-kuraġġ li tagħmlulna fil-ġimgħat li ġejjin inkunu nistgħu nkomplu l-ħidma tagħna għal dawn il-Kristjani batuti u anke permezz ta' dawn il-programmi fuq UTV. Ta' dan nirringrazzjaw lil Dun Ġwan għall-appoġġ tiegħu u lit-tekniċi tiegħu li qed jgħinuna ntellaw dan il-programm.
F'dan il-filmat qasir li se naraw se nurukom mill-liema persekuzzjoni kellhom jgħaddu il-Kristjani fl-Albanija fi żmien id-dittatura. Kien hemm min saħansitra radam salib ġol ħajt tad-dar tiegħu biex kemm familtu, speċjalment it-tfal, ma jarawx jitlob quddiem is-salib. Minħabba fekk it-tfal kienu jaħsbu li missierhom ma kienx f'siktu meta kienu jarawh qisu qed jitkellem mal-ħajt.
Nel 1945 il dittatore Enver Hoxha, il colonnello, prese potere nello Stato e da allora aveva iniziato a combattere la cultura, la democrazia, gli ideali di libertà stranieri. All'inizio nel 1945 ha ucciso i primi sacerdoti più importanti, più culturati e dopo piano piano ha distrutto le teste di tutti, sia musulmani che cattolici che ortodossi. Nel 1967 il dittatore dichiarò l'Albania l'unico stato ateo al mondo. Nessuna fede poteva essere testimoniata, professata. Venivano cambiati i nomi, non potevi dire Dio, non potevi dire Gesù e i bambini in casa non potevano sentire preghiere. Dallo spionaggio dicesse chiedi ai bambini se sanno fare la preghiera e un bambino ingenuamente poteva rispondere io so fare la preghiera, io so fare la croce maestra e quindi tutta la famiglia veniva perseguitata. Lo spionaggio era ovunque, nella sedia, nel cappello, nel vestito, nella casa, nelle persone che la Sigurimi mandava e quindi c'era questo clima di terrore, di spionaggio. Le chiese furono trasformate in musei, in teatri, in cinema che trasmettevano, facevano spettacoli contro la chiesa, anticlericali, però la gente era obbligata ad andare lì. E loro andavano, guardavano lo spettacolo anticlericale contro Cristo, contro la Chiesa, però nel cuore loro dicevano stiamo calpestando un terreno che è stato sacro, questa è stata una Chiesa, io sono qui per pregare. Oppure qualcuno nascondeva nella parete di casa un crocifisso e la mattina si alzava, andava lì e apriva la bocca. I figli guardavano l'uomo che apriva la bocca, ma non capivano cosa dicesse e dicevano ai figli, povero papà, è impazzito. Nel 91, quando il comunismo è caduto, quell'uomo ha rotto il muro e dietro c'era un crocifisso nascosto. Soprattutto gli anziani, quelli che hanno vissuto durante il regime comunista, la loro fede è davvero forte e vera. È stata provata al fuoco della persecuzione. Far battezzare un figlio hanno rischiato la vita, di essere torturati, deportati, e quelli dicono siamo stati fedeli a Cristo fino alla fine.
Il-filmat li jmiss jismu Pakistan, a City of Fear. F'din il-belt ta' Karaki isseħħ massakru kuljum. Tisplodi bomba. It-teddid kontra l-Kristjani jsir f'kull ħin, kuljum. Ħadd m'għadu jħossu sikur.
F'din il-belt qed isiru mill-inqas 4 gwerer il-ħin kollu bejn is-Sunni u x-Xiti, bejn gruppi li jmexxu drogi, bejn partiti politiċi kif ukoll bejn kriminali u l-pulizija.
F'din il-belt portwali ta' Karaki jgħixu 18 miljun ruħ. Hija l-akbar ċentru ta' kummerċ u ta' konċentrazzjoni ta' popolazzjoni fil-Pakistan. Kif inhi l-ħajja f'Karaki għal komunità nisranija żgħira fil-parroċċja ta' San Filip.
Fil-filmat li jmiss se naraw b'mod partikolari il-ħajja ta' żewġ familji Kristjani. f'dina il-belt. B'mod ġenerali, il-film jurina wkoll l-isfida tal-Kristjani biex kuljum jgħixu f'ambjent daqstant diffiċli.
A massacre takes place in this city every day. A bomb explodes, a dismembered hand is thrown into someone's garden as a forewarning. Nobody feels safe anymore. Whilst heroin dealers work openly on street corners and murderers shoot in broad daylight, policemen remain unwilling to apprehend them. At least 4 very different wars are being conducted between Sunnites and Shiites, between drug cartels, between political parties, as well as between ordinary criminals and the police. Tiziano Terzani wrote these words about Karachi in 1995. Little has since changed, except that this port city with its 18 million inhabitants is now Pakistan's biggest trade and population centre. What is life like in Karachi for a small Christian community in St. Philip's Parish?
According to a recent newspaper report, was more than 2 million illegal immigrants in Karachi. That's a very big number. It has an impact on the overall population. It has an impact on many other things, on the crime situation, on drugs, on smuggling.
In this city, those who sell drugs, it is already understood that they are also from the tax mafia and also involved in political acts, and everyone is involved in it. Here in our own area, many religious groups have also adopted the same process. They have their own terrorist wings. According to secret assumptions, there are almost 56 terrorists in Karachi who are target killers. You just show them the picture, and in the evening you receive the dead body. Daily, 10 to 15 dead bodies. And the biggest dilemma in Karachi is, when a person is killed or murdered, after 10 minutes, the police and the people move around as if nobody has been killed, or nothing has happened there. No human person had died. At this moment, the police do not have any kind of role in the city. The wave of terrorism in Karachi has become worst in the last 10 years.
Target killings are mainly the result of political parties, big business, drug gangs and fundamentalist religious groups settling scores. The reality on Karachi's streets also includes unpredictable bomb explosions that kill and maim many innocent people. The growing violence, though not directed against Christians, inevitably affects them. During 5 months of 2012, 5 boys were shot in Isanagri, one of Karachi's poor, mainly Christian neighborhoods. One of the victims was Faisal, a young man under 25 who ran a small mobile phone accessory shop near his home.
He was sitting in his shop. 2 thieves came in, and they started looting the shop. They had a gun with them. I suddenly came there. They also pointed the gun at me. Then I jumped on one of them and held him. But he fired on my son. The one who had taken the money ran away. The one who opened fire on my son, we caught him. We immediately went to hospital, but they had shot my son dead.
When I heard the firing, I ran down. Faisal was dead. He did not make any sound. I went and took him in my lap. He was a very loyal child. He was very intelligent, and he was very capable. He made a very big sacrifice for both of us. He went to the seminary to become a priest, but he realized that neither his mother nor his father could run the household. So he came back from Lahore and took responsibility for everything.
I have a small shop with recycled things. I just open it for 2 to 4 hours. Then I get tired because I'm a diabetic patient. And he came back because of my condition. He used to live with us. He was a big support for us. I cannot tell. I don't have the words. I can't live without my son.
Isa Nagri, you mentioned, it's a very large, I think what you would call it a slum, or let us say a large number of poor people living in a certain part of the city. The city has grown. So there are land grabbers who are interested in this area. There are drug pushers who come around selling drugs. There's the problem of illegal sale of alcohol. There are money lenders who prey on the poor who need money. They lend them money at very high rates, which then becomes difficult for the poor man to pay back. Most of our Christians are mostly economically, socio-economically on the lower level of society.
The streets are very small and narrow. People live in small houses. They cannot even breathe properly. They cannot have hygiene and good food. Most of the people are sick. Some have cardiac problems, others have tuberculosis, and many are suffering from other kinds of diseases. Usually, these people work as cleaners, sanitary workers. Some are government employees. Some are teachers. But all of these people are underpaid. Their salaries are very low. Because they live under stress and pressure, many poor people have now become addicts. Some use heroin, some drink alcohol, and some take opium. Some people turn to these local ways of addiction as a way of getting rid of their difficulties and worries.
Isa Nagri's poor inhabitants decided to defend themselves against the drug mafia, racketeering, extortion and growing violence. They chose to build a wall to limit traffic through the narrow streets and to control all who wish to enter this Christian enclave.
L-ACN temmen bil-qawwa tat-talb u għalhekk dejjem tħeġġeġ lill-Kristjani biex jitolbu ħalli jitjiebu s-sitwazzjonijiet għall-Kristjani f'dawn il-pajjiżi. Għalhekk diversi drabi matul is-sena l-ACN Malta torganizza irtiri ta' talb u qudies għal dan il-għan. F'sitwazzjonijiet bħal dawn li għadna kemm rajna f'dan il-programm huwa permezz tat-talb li nistgħu nġibu l-bidla mixtieqa biex dawn il-Kristjani jibdew jgħixu bid-dinjità li tixirqilhom.
Permezz tal-Madonna diġà twettqu mirakli kbar f'dawn l-aħħar 50 sena. Kristjani li kienu ippersegwitati wara l-portiera tal-ħadid, jiġifieri fil-pajjiżi tal-Ewropa tal-Lvant, kisbu l-libertà u llum jistgħu jerġgħu jipprattikaw il-fidi Kristjana mingħajr biża' jew xkiel.
L-ACN qed twettaq aktar minn 6,000 proġett kull sena madwar id-dinja. Dan qed isir bl-iskop li nixxuttaw id-dmuħ fejn il-mulej qed jibki.
Inizjattiva oħra illi ħada l-aħħar l-Uffiċċju ta' Malta tal-ACN hija dik li jisponsorja 17 il-seminarist fl-Ukrajna. Bħalissa l-ACN qed tajn fil-formazzjoni ta' 138 seminaristi fl-Ukrajna illi qegħdin jippreparaw ruhom għas-saċerdozju. Dawn jinkludu ġuventur minn 7 djoċesi differenti.
Dawn huma żgħażagħ minn familji foqra. Għalhekk, il-familji tagħhom ma jistgħux iħallsulhom l-ispejjeż tal-formazzjoni tagħhom fis-seminarju. Issa, l-ACN ta' Malta daħlet għal dan il-proġett biex tisponsorja 17 il-seminarist. Meta l-Ukrajna kienet parti mill-Unjoni Sovjetika, l-età medja tas-saċerdoti Ukreni kienet telet għal aktar minn 80 sena. Grazzi għal ħidma li għamlet l-ACN biex nerġgħu jinfetħu s-seminarji abbandonati f'dawn l-aħħar 30 sena, l-età medja tas-saċerdoti issa niżlet għal madwar 30 sena.
B'hekk minkejja gwerra qalila fl-Ukrajna, il-Knisja issa qed tara futur għalija f'dak il-pajjiż. Min barra l-istudji tagħhom, is-seminaristi huma involuti fil-ħidma pastorali fil-parroċċi, f'ħidma maż-żgħażagħ u fit-tagħlim tar-reliġjon.
Peress li s-seminarju jinsab fil-punent tal-Ukrajna, dan ġeneralment mhux affettwat direttament mill-attakki tal-gwerra. Matul il-vaganzi, is-seminaristi jgħinu wkoll biex jitmexxew kampijiet tas-sajf għaż-żgħażagħ, l-hekk imsejħa vaganzi mal-mulej. Il-Kristjani fl-Ukrajna m'għandhomx biżżejjed lanqas għal bżonnijiet tagħhom stess u għalhekk ma jistgħux jgħinu għal bżonnijiet tas-seminarju.
Għaldastant l-ACN f'Malta se tajn fl-ispiża tat-taħriġ ta' dawn is-17 il-seminarist botja ta' flus.
Eżis telespettaturi, wasanna biex nagħlqu programm ieħor tal-Aid to the Church in Need Malta minn din is-sensiela Solidarjeta ma' Ħutna Ippersegwitati. Nisperaw li l-firmati li qed nurukom minn diversi pajjiżi qed issibuhom interessanti ħafna.
Dawk it-telespettaturi illi jixtiequ jibdew jirċievu il-fuljett bla ħlas li tippubblika l-Aid to the Church in Need f'Malta darba kull xahar u nofs huma ġentilment mitluba iċemplu 2148 7818 jew jibatu SMS fuq 7999 9969. Tistgħu tkellmuna wkoll permezz ta' email fuq info@acnmalta.org.
L-Aid to the Church in Need i fondazzjoni pontifiċja feħdan il-Knisja Kattolika, jiġifieri taqa' direttament taħt il-Papa. L-ACN irreġistrata f'Malta bħala fondazzjoni skont il-liġijiet ta' Malta bin-numru VO 2227.
Dan il-programm ikun imtenni fil-jiem illi ġejjin hawnhekk fuq UTV. Grazzi ta' l-attenzjoni tagħkom, il-programm illi jmiss se jixxandar bħallum ġimgħa fl-istess ħin u nieħdu gost kieku sa dakinhar nisimgħu minn għandkom. Jiena Matilde u
jiena Stephen
inselbulkom u nixtuqulkom il-koll kull ġid.